Have you ever been walking through the desolate ruins of a Burger Tank fast food restaurant when out of nowhere, you hear it? A deep, guttural groan followed by an unmistakable, grotesque retch. You turn the corner cautiously only to find a bloated, lumbering figure, its stomach grotesquely distended and its skin pallid and glistening in the light. Meet the Boomer. The Boomer may not be the fastest or the strongest of the special infected, but make no mistake, this grotesque abomination has a devastating role in the infection strategy. In today's video, we're diving into the question, why does the Boomer exist? At first glance, it seems simple. It's a walking time bomb meant to overwhelm survivors with hordes of common infected. But, much like the witch, the Boomer is part of something larger, a calculated and sinister evolution of the green flu. We've already established that the infected fill specific predatory roles designed to exploit the weaknesses of survivors. So, where does the Boomer fit in? If the witch represents a trap for the compassionate, then the Boomer is chaos incarnate. Its bloated form isn't just for show, it's a walking biological weapon. The Boomer's primary attack isn't physical, it's psychological. When it vomits, its bile coats survivors, blinding them and drawing hordes of common infected to their location. This isn't a random mutation, it's a calculated adaptation. The infection has weaponized the Boomer to serve as a distraction and to disrupt survivor coordination. But let's take a closer look at the Boomer's anatomy and mechanics. Its distended stomach and unstable gait suggest that the infection has radically transformed its body. The bloating isn't just grotesque, it's highly functional. When the Boomer is killed, it explodes, sending bile flying in all directions. This ensures that even in death, it remains a threat. What could have led to the creation of the Boomer? The Boomer's grotesque appearance and unique abilities raise a compelling question. Who or what were they before the infection? While Left 4 Dead doesn't provide detailed backstories for individual special infected, we can theorize about the conditions in life that might predispose someone to become a Boomer. The Boomer's most defining characteristic is its extreme obesity and bloated physique. This suggests that it may have once been an individual struggling with severe weight issues, possibly caused by a combination of lifestyle, genetics, and environmental factors. In many cases, obesity can lead to related health issues such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or metabolic disorders, conditions that may have made certain individuals more vulnerable to the infection's mutations. One theory is that Boomers were individuals with sedentary lifestyles potentially worsened by modern societal trends. In urban environments, processed foods and lack of access to nutritious options often lead to health complications. The infection could have exploited these pre-existing vulnerabilities, rapidly mutating these individuals into bloated, bile-filled monstrosities. Their overproduction of bile may be linked to metabolic dysfunction. In the pre-infection stage, bile is essential for digesting fats, but in the Boomer, this process seems to have gone haywire. The infection could have hijacked and exaggerated this biological function, turning it into a weapon to blind and summon hordes. Another possibility is that Boomers were individuals coping with stress or depression through overeating or substance abuse. Stress-related binge eating or excessive alcohol consumption could have contributed to their physical state prior to infection. Alcoholism in particular might explain the Boomer's distended gut and sluggish movements, as well as the yellowish, jaundiced tone of its skin, which is a hallmark of liver damage. The infection, amplifying emotional and physical traits, might have taken these pre-existing conditions and transformed them into the grotesque figure we now know as the Boomer. Not to get political, but socioeconomic conditions could also play a role in the Boomer's origin. Those living in poverty or food deserts might have had limited access to healthy food and healthcare, leading to poor physical health. Combined with potential exposure to stress, these conditions could have made individuals more susceptible to the green flu's more extreme mutations. The infection seems to amplify the worst aspects of its host's physical and emotional state. So the Boomer's origins might be a tragic reflection of systemic inequality. While the Boomer doesn't show overt signs of higher cognitive function like the witch, Its loud groans and disoriented movements suggest a certain level of distress. It's possible that the infection has heightened feelings of insecurity or self-loathing that the individual may have experienced in life. The boomer's grotesque form and explosive nature could be a symbolic representation of these amplified emotions, overwhelming and destructive to themselves and others. The boomer's creation is a haunting reminder of how the green flu tailors its mutations to exploit and amplify the vulnerabilities of its hosts. Whether through physical, emotional, or environmental conditions, the infection appears to take what is already present and twist it into something grotesque and deadly. The boomer's bloated, unstable form may be a direct result of how the infection interacts with pre-existing obesity, poor health, or even mental health challenges. From a gameplay perspective, the boomer is a wild card. The boomer's mechanics are designed to disrupt and punish poor positioning. Its bile serves two key functions: blinding survivors and summoning a horde of common infected. The blindness lasts for 20 seconds on its own, but it's the horde that makes it deadly. Up to 30 infected can swarm a biled survivor, overwhelming them quickly if they're isolated or out of position. The boomer's explosion adds an extra layer of danger. If a survivor kills a boomer at close range, they'll be splattered with bile as if they were vomited on. This mechanic encourages players to think before they shoot. Firing recklessly can result in a disastrous chain of events. What makes the boomer truly terrifying isn't just its mechanics, it's the implications of its design. The infection doesn't just create mindless monsters. It evolves to counter the survivor's strengths. The boomer's bile forces players out of cover and into open spaces, where they become vulnerable to hordes or other special infected. It's a living catalyst for chaos designed to destabilize and overwhelm. Interestingly, the boomer seems to embody the infection's more grotesque side. Its swollen body, pustules, and decaying skin suggest a rapid and aggressive transformation. But what's truly unsettling is how it uses its grotesque nature to its advantage. Survivors' natural reaction might be to shoot it on sight, but this often leads to disaster as its explosive death spreads bile far and wide. And then, there's the damage. The boomer itself doesn't deal direct damage with its attacks, it's more of a support class for the infected. Its bile doesn't harm survivors directly, but creates the conditions for devastating attacks by others. However, in versus mode, a well-played boomer can completely turn the tide of a round. Its ability to split survivors, delay their progress, and set them up for ambushes makes it invaluable to a coordinated, infected team. While the boomer's vomit doesn't directly hurt survivors, it sets the stage for massive damage through the horde. Survivors who are overwhelmed can quickly lose health or even be incapacitated. Combined with other special infected, the boomer can create a lethal combo. Imagine being biled, pinned by a hunter, and then swarmed by the horde. So, why does the boomer exist? In the grand design of the infection, it's both a disruptor and a decoy. It forces survivors to make split-second decisions. Do you shoot and risk getting bile on your team, or do you hold back and hope it doesn't get too close? Either way, it creates openings for the other infected to attack. The boomer may not be the deadliest special infected, but it's arguably one of the most important. Without it, the infection loses its ability to control the flow of combat. The boomer is chaos personified, a reminder that in the world of Left 4 Dead, every moment of calm can erupt into pandemonium. So next time you hear that telltale groan, think twice before you aim your weapon. Sometimes the real danger isn't the explosion, it's what comes after.